the recovered memory was being at a friend's house, and then his, I think his older brother assaulted me. I was at a 12-step fellowship for sex addicts, and there was a guy speaking, and he's describing about an assault that happened to him when he was a child. And I'm just listening. But I feel like I start to feel uneasy. I start to feel a flashback coming, which is a very common occurrence at that time for me because as soon as you pull, once you start, as soon as you take the lid off the pot, I was just like a walking trigger, like everything just flashback, flashback, flashback. Like there's so much terror and sadness to process that I was just nightmares every night and crying throughout the day. But anyway, so like I feel a flashback coming on. So I'm like, oh, great. Okay. So here we go again. So I'm driving home and I have this kind of like thought, which is like, it's kind of this like this thought outside myself, but it's like this happened to you. And I was like, my second thought was like, oh, fuck. Because there's a part of me that acknowledges it's true, but doesn't want to acknowledge it. It's kind of like the experience that I describe is like knowing intuitively that you have cancer, but then finally going to the doctor and getting the test and looking at it, and it says you have cancer. And I go to bed that night. And for many times when I would go to bed while I was processing that year, I would have nightmares. It was just nightmares. But this particular night, I'm um I'm playing with one of my friends. Uh I think I'm in the seventh grade, or I'm either in the sixth grade or the seventh grade, playing with one of my friends that I haven't seen in years. And he had an older brother, and something happens to me in the dream. I get assaulted or something happens to me. But there's a distinct detail that I remember from that dream. And it's we're playing the game Croc 2, and the dream is very vivid. And I'm like, let me fact check this. Let me go back and fact check this because I don't even remember the name of that game. Is that a real game? I used to go over to their house. We used to play. And so I went on the internet and I searched the game. And not only was it a real game, it came out the year that I was in the sixth or seventh grade. And so I'm just feeling in that moment, I just felt like, like I just gotten like a cancer diagnosis because I didn't know what it meant. Like I felt very uncertain and I was just like, oh God, like I was terrified. And what I've learned since then is like, um, it was just, it was nothing to be afraid of. It was just, it was just I don't know. And the thing is, it was just my mind sharing a thing that it wasn't ready to process at the time. Um, but I don't know why it blocked it. It blocked that one out when so many more horrific things happened to me, like from the adults in my life. So it's like, it's very confusing. It's like, okay, but it's just like, I'm also at peace. It's just like, okay, well,
Could it
that's,
be because this is the sexual abuse, or did you remember other?
yeah, that was the nature of it. And so it's like, that might be part of it too, right? Because my parents never did that. It was like violence and screaming and neglect, but it wasn't that. So That could have been part of it for sure. I'm 37 now. I think I was 28. So I was in my, yeah, I was 28. I was in the 12-step fellowship.
How do you know your memory's true?
It's just a gut feeling, like it's there's no reason why my intuition is very strong and it's very accurate. And there's no reason to not believe it. Like my mind doesn't have ulterior motives. Like it just shows me what it wants to show me. So I've never doubted the truth of it. Um, yeah, yeah, I trust what my mind showed me. And plus when I don't, there's a very vocal part of my mind that like uh demands that I like acknowledge that it's true.